Well, this edition of the Z-Files is on the road. Earlier this week on the Z-Files, we told you about an event that was going to happen. Well, it's happened. We had the unveiling of this lodge, recognizing that the Concord F&A, number 50 F&AM has been around since 1886 and been downtown for a long, long time. We're talking about the Worshipful Master here, Chester Willis. It's kind of significant recognition of your lodge.
It is a very historical recognition, and it promotes the history of our Concord Lodge number 50. Masons are pretty quiet folks, and you don't see them out and about much, but this is an opportunity to show what they do and who they are and what they look like, and we appreciate your support in coming out and helping us get this dedication committed.
And as you pointed out, the railroad workers built this place first. They came through here in 1881, 82, laying tracks and put up a little boxcar down there where Main Street and the tracks are now, and called it Crestview Station. And it didn't take long for some of those guys to find some fellow Masons and to create a lodge here that they felt was needed.
It was just a few years after that railroad station was put up. 14 members got together and established the charter for Concord Lodge number 50, and some of them are still pretty much represented in the community today as descendants of those 14 original lodge members.
Well, that's great. And now what you're going to see on the Z-Files and here on the radio will be the presentation that we had out in the shady side where we could all talk and not have sun in our eyes, or well, you guys could. And then you're also going to see more of the interview that I did earlier this week, because there's some things the lodge has coming up that we want you to know about. We want you to see the pictures of we can show you where on the ground the lodge was, because I think there's some storage buildings there now.
Absolutely.
But then, of course, this building, and you'll see some of the video of the new lodge building, a beautiful building out on Garden Street with lots of grass lawn out there for the youngsters to run around in and play soccer and other things they do.
Absolutely. The new location since 1990 has about 1.5 acres, mostly flat cleared land, well grassed, and we have a lot of Crestview Soccer League teams come out there, the small ones, Pee Wee guys, and so with the baseball, and they practice out there in that environment, and it's fun to watch those folks taking advantage of that. We also have a lodge social room inside that's available to anybody that wants to have a party. Remember, we're non-alcoholic at that point, but you're welcome to come in and talk to us about utilizing that lodge room. It'll seat about 120 people.
Well, that's great, and we'll have the lodge number up there on the screen for those watching this on Z-Files on the Facebook pages we've got. You can see it there or hear it on the radio on Saturday mornings. But congratulations again, Mr. Willis, and it looks kind of nice out here for the folks to see as they come into the north end of downtown, the historic downtown Crestview.
Appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. Thank you.
On behalf of the Crestview Historic Preservation Board, we're proud to present this marker honoring Concord Lodge number 50 free and accepted Masons. It's fitting that we should honor the lodge in this, our city's centennial 100th anniversary celebration, since the history of Concord Lodge and the city of Crestview is so intertwined, deeply intertwined. To put it in perspective, this year is Crestview's 100th anniversary, and this lodge predates the city of Crestview by 30 years. We'd like to thank Concord Lodge members and Mr. Kermit George for working with the Crestview Historic Preservation Board to make this marker a reality. Collaborative effort of organizations and this individuals really serves to make our city stronger. The Crestview Historic Preservation Board members are appointed by Crestview Mayor and City Councilman. We thank you, gentlemen, for your service to our community and for the opportunity to serve on this board. We have with us today Crestview Mayor David Cadle. We have City Council members Joe Blocker, Doug Faircloth, Bill Cox. I think I've missed anyone. City Clerk Betsy Roy. We appreciate you guys for coming today. The Crestview Historic Preservation Board was formed in 2001 by the City Council. The board has been responsible for establishing the Crestview Historic District and the placement of our historic district on the National Register of Historic Places. The board members have worked to preserve the Alitex building from demolition here in Crestview. It became the centerpiece of our historic district and now proudly serves as home to the Florida A&M University Pharmaceutical College. Our board has erected 3 historical markers here in Crestview, with 3 more in progress and others to come. The board has created a collection of photographs and historical memorabilia that will be placed in the new Okaloosa County Courthouse upon completion of that construction. And this year the board has reprinted a historical book on Crestview, the Forkland. The board was gifted to us by member authors Betty Carrington and Claudia Patton, and we'd like to thank those ladies for their gift. We have put a new centennial cover on that book. We have copies available through our Crestview board members. It's a great 600-page book with historical photographs, maps, and documents on the history of Crestview. And we'd be glad to work with anyone that wants copies. This board raises funds independently, and our funds are used entirely for historical preservation projects and these markers. This is a fact that we're very proud of. Many of our board members are natives of Crestview and Okaloosa County and descend from families who have worked to make this city what it is today. So our service to this board is definitely a labor of love. I'm proud to say that my own family history very deeply intertwines with Concord Lodge and Eastern Star Chapter 203, so this is truly from the heart. Concord Lodge was chartered on January 23, 1886, under the leadership of the first Worshipful Master, Mr. John W. Baggett. The first structure was a 2-story wooden structure located along the Yellow River Railroad near the old Crestview Cemetery. That's today is Industrial Drive near the Garden of Memories Cemetery. It housed not only the Crestview Lodge, Concord Lodge, but also the Crestview School and the Crestview Baptist Church. The structure was destroyed by fire in 1916, and from that, 3 other structures were created. The building you see behind us today was built in 1919. The Crestview School was built across the road, Highway 90, where the Crestview Manor is located today, and the First Baptist Church of Crestview. The structure behind us housed the Concord Lodge for 71 years, until 1990, when a new building was constructed on Garden Street, north of Crestview. At this time, I'd like to recognize Concord Lodge Worshipful Master, Mr. Chester Willis, and have him say a few words.
Thank you, Ms. Spann. As Ms. Spann indicated, I'm the current sitting Worshipful Master for Concord Lodge No. 50, and I've got a short list of thank yous. I'd like to thank all of you today for coming out in your jackets, ties, in this beautiful warm weather and assisting us with the dedication. I'd like to thank first and foremost Mr. Kermit George. Without his permission, the lodge wouldn't be dedicated in the original building, one of the original buildings. I'd like to thank the Crestview Preservation Society and the Crestview Main Street Society for putting this all together and making it happen. About February, I was given a call and said, we're going to set a marker up, what do you think? And I said, send me some details. I got one email, and after that email, I didn't hear anything until about 2 weeks ago. But it all came together and very beautifully. We thank you. I want to thank the Crestview Chamber of Commerce and the city leaders. Mayor Cadle, thank you for your attendance today. And I want to thank the local radio station, WAAZ FM, and the fire department for giving us some background noise. I want to thank the radio station for your broadcast of this dedication and Monday's interview. Thank you for that. To begin, all right worshipfuls, masters, wardens, brothers, and alls. Crestview Concord Lodge No. 50 has a long and prestigious history in the making of Crestview. Many distinct citizens were, and continue in the making of the history of Crestview as members of Concord Lodge No. 50. As Mrs. Spann indicated some of the history, I'll read a short verbiage of history. Again, the lodge was chartered in 1886 in January and was authorized to meet in Crestview in the county of Walton. And there were 14 brothers involved in that formation of the lodge. The lodge was originally the home of Congressman Bob Sykes, who we all know. Some very prestigious historical markers about him are around here. And he served many years in the U.S. House of Representatives. The lodge became part of Crestview of Okaloosa County when that county was established in 1915 as the 52nd county. A lot of people ask, what are Masons and what do we do? I'm going to read a short summary of what Masons do. Freemasons are respectable citizens who are taught to conform to the moral laws of society and abide by the laws of the government under which they live. They are men of charity and good works. They remain unchallenged as the world's greatest philanthropy. The Freemasons of America contribute more than $1 million every day to charitable causes, which they alone have established. These services to mankind represent an unparalleled example of the humanitarian commitment and concern of this unique and honorable fraternity. And that kind of concludes what we're here for and what we've been doing since we've been here, and we continue to do that. I want to thank again all of you for attending. The brothers that attended today, and without further ado, Mrs. Spann, we can move around the corner and unwrap the marker.
We'll reverse this. Sir. Are you ready?
Ready. You want to say this kind of concludes it?
That concludes our ceremony. We appreciate it, and thank you all for coming.
This edition of the Z-Files is being videotaped here in the big Studio A at WAAZ. This is the main control room. I thought I'd give you a different view for those of you who watch. The past couple of ones I've done here, you can see the old transmitter room in behind me. Behind me now is a piece of equipment that's been here since September 15th. Actually, it was here before September 15th, 1954, but it's been here ever since the radio station went on the air. We're going to be talking about Concord Lodge 50 in the Masonic Order, and I've got two special guests here who are going to help us find out about what the Masonic world is all about. Our guests with us are Chester Willis, who is a Worshipful Master. Welcome here. And how long have you been involved in the Masonic work?
I'm on my 5th year now of being a Mason, and looking forward to many more.
You put him to work real fast, didn't you?
We sure do. We try to get the young guys in.
And this is Jim Moore to my right, and everybody in Okaloosa County knows who Jim Moore is. And I think I've known Judge Moore since my young days in Niceville. But and he's the guy that gives us a lot of history things. Now, what is going to happen?
Crestview Concord number 50 started in 1886. There were not very many people here, but the railroad brought a lot of people into this area, and they were Masons from other areas. And so the core of what happened was there were enough Masons here that wanted a Masonic lodge in Crestview. And shortly after by 1887, the lodge building was built just north of the cemetery that's there on Ferdon going towards Laurel Hill.
Right.
And that was the first one that was built. And that lodge stayed there until it burned in about 1916. And that's when then the Masons met for a while in the courthouse in the grand jury room.
Okay.
Where they had just built there, and of course grand jury room is a very secret place, and Masons like to keep their work secret in that aspect of it. But anyway, then they were going to build a new lodge, and they conceived of it next to the courthouse, and that's the building that we're dedicating there, that was started and occupied by the Masons in 1919.
And of course, that's just a few years after this became Okaloosa County. Crestview, of course, in the early days of the lodge was in Walton County, and the railroad came through and built their little railroad stop and said, what a view from this crest, according to the history book. So Crestview Station was the first stop in 1882-83. The depot came along, I think, in the good depot in the 1890s.
Right.
And by that time, your lodge, what kind of membership numbers would you think they would have had in those early days?
Well, early they only had 15 to start the lodge. You have to have at least 5 at that period of time. But they quickly grew, and so it became a pretty strong part of the community. Once the lodge was built in 1887, the first thing they did was they put the first schoolhouse. The school was in the bottom of the lodge building. And so we started the education. Now, people say the reason we did that because the Masons need a lot of education. But anyway, we have to a lot. And then the Baptist church decided over in Milligan that Crestview needed a Baptist church. So they had their Baptist church in the bottom of the Masonic Concord's lodge for years until they were able to build their own church and grow.
So the building served as a school on weekdays and a church on weekends.
And at night, the Masons met there.
I'll go back to Chester here. How did you get involved in Masonry, and what is the role of what you do as Worshipful Master?
I was involved in, I asked for an application from an elderly member who recently passed away, Harmon Ferguson. Sure. He was a Mason for many, many years, and all it took was his one briefing to me, and I immediately was hooked. Filled out the application, went through the ritual training, the 3 degrees, and I eventually became a chair Mason. I moved around the chairs, and as we speak now, I'm the current sitting master. And my job is basically to make sure the lodge is governed in a way that is very, very functional every day. And whether we have a meeting or not, I plan for the next event, and I make sure the word is out to those folks, and we have the resources to conduct that meeting or ritual or whatever.
How many members are in the Concord Lodge now?
Right, last count was 127, okay. All in good standing.
Now, at some point in time, you moved from the property downtown to a place out near the high school.
Yes, we're on Garden Street out there, and we made that move because originally all Masonic Hall lodges had to be on the ground floor. I mean, upstairs, to preserve secrecy. And secrecy only, we're not a secret organization. We're open. You come by and look at us. We let people come in. We have breakfasts. Everything is open in that. So people understand what Masonry is nothing but a fraternity. And we've had fraternities in colleges in this country since the early 1700s. So fraternities are not anything unusual. You have the Elks, the Eagle, the Odd Fellows, they're just way on out there. We moved out there because there were so many older Masons that could not climb the stairs anymore. And so we have our building out there, and in our lodge room, we have no windows. So we accomplished what we need. But it's a very functional lodge. It's a very beautiful lodge, inside and out. And we take good care of it, and we're proud of it. And the master over there does all that work. He supervises it. I don't do anything anymore. After 60 years of it, I'm in a little bit of a retirement, almost 60 years.
Right, but you've got the history knowledge of it.
Well, I have a lot of it, yeah.
Now, what are some of the things that the Masonic Lodge does do? What is its purpose, and why should a young man want to be a member of that?
Well, to caveat on what Brother Moore said, it is a fraternity, not a secret fraternity. The secret about Masonry is there is no secret. It's an open fraternity. Anyone can join. It's a membership of like-minded men who want to help others in the fraternity and within the community. And we have lots of programs we resource, or several programs we resource in the local community, and we do it without fanfare and without public knowledge or public credit. We just do it, and they know who we are, and we know who they are. That's kind of the way it works. It is a thumbprint over other fraternities, but we are still restricted with no alcohol and no hell-raising Fridays and Saturdays and those kinds of things, but it keeps us focused on our primary mission there, to help each other and to help the community. or anyone in sickness and distress that we know of, even if they're a Mason or not a Mason.
Okay. And there is somewhat of a lot of ritual involved in what the Masonic Order does.
Yes, that's true. And
but I can say other lodges do. I think I was a member of the Eagle one. I remember what that hate was like.
right. Okay. So, and it's no more than a college fraternity. I don't, But one thing that he did not mention is, one of the things we do around here, we put flags out. We charge people a few dollars to put those flags out during the holidays. And the money we get from that all goes to charity. And we donate to all types of charities. We support the Boy Scouts. We support other organizations, but even within ourselves, our duty is to take care of the widows and orphans. And we are really strong. If there's someone that a brother Mason has died and his family needs help, we need to be there to help them. And that's what the Worshipful Master supervises, and he works to make sure that we're accomplishing our mission. And our mission is not just ourselves. Our mission is much broader than that.
I would imagine that some of you folks will be involved when they do the brick laying and the cornerstone laying for the courthouse number 3 in the history of Okaloosa County.
Absolutely. We look forward to that dedication ceremony, and again to being part of the courthouse, as Jim earlier mentioned. I feel we are connected to that thing very directly based on what I've just learned today a little bit about the history of the lodge. So I look forward to those invites, and we will be there.
Okay.
Well, can we didn't mention the women. I mean, let's do that.
How do they play a part?
Well, we have the Order of the Eastern Star that meets in our lodge. And therefore, the women have their part of a fraternity, or it's a mixture anyway. The men and women who are Masons or Mason-oriented then become a member of that. And so we need to say that we're not exclusively male. We try to include those groups. Also, we do other things. We let our facility be available for sports events. They practice there, different, right. And that's important to know that we're contributing back. People help us, and we're returning to them.
Of course, being where you are out there near the high school, you've got a little bit more land outside. You can have them do soccer practice and things, and you got probably a little bit more room to park.
Absolutely. Moving farther north like they did, they got about 1.5 acres, I would say, roughly, and it is all flat, clean, and cleared. And the Crestview Soccer League does use that, and the Little League baseball or maybe softball team uses it as well, quite often. Again, like Jim said, the women, ladies of the Eastern Star, they're a contributing factor to our Masonic mission. But even if they are not part of the Eastern Star, our wives are very supportive of the Mason mission. Many of them come up there and support the lodge during meals and breakfasts and fundraising events. And I just want to say that out loud. We usually do an interview at the beginning of the application process, and it includes your wife if you're married, and your children and family. We meet them and they meet us, so they know that it is not that secret society, but a fraternity that they are welcome to everything but an actual lodge meeting.
And you do have some special events and some dinners coming up that we'll be reminding folks on WAAZ, WJSB about. What have you got going on here through the end of the year?
Currently, every second Saturday, we have an open breakfast, open to the public. It's pretty much the standard fare, the biscuits, the bacon, the gravy, and then we have an omelet bar. Have a very good sous chef. He's one of our brothers. He'll set it up as good as any Golden Corral I've seen, and it brings in the people. We had close to 40 people this last Saturday show up for that breakfast, and then following that we had a degree. To go on a little bit further, the 29th of October, we're going to have a fundraiser. We don't do very many open to the public, but this is going to be a steak fundraiser, a steak night, and we're going to sell ribeye steaks. Not the flat iron kind you get at maybe Waffle House or somewhere, but this is not a petite. It's a grande. It's a 1 pound, 16 ounce, cut from a butcher in a small grocery in Funex Springs. They season it, marinate it. We bring it back and we get a potato to match it, and then all the fixings on the side, and the cost of that is $20. And we start, tickets are available through the lodge, and I'll give you a phone number later.
Okay.
But that money goes toward our charitable missions that we have here in the lodge. The 29th from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Let me mention one thing, amplify on what the master said. To be a Mason, all you have to do is ask a Mason. You have to believe in God, and we believe in eternal life. Those things are the only requirements. We don't go out and solicit you. If you know a Mason and you would like to become a member of the Masonic Order, come down and get a petition. Ask any Mason you want and let them start the process for you. But you got to believe in God to be a Mason. We don't. That's the primary qualification, and being a man.
Okay. And let's give them that phone number if they want to get more information about the stake night or anything else.
Okay, I'll give you 2 phone numbers. One is my phone number, and it's area code 850-682-9208, and the other one is going to be right here in a second. It's 850-398-3832, and we will find you somewhere and present you the ticket for that small donation of $20. And we had 2 of these already, and we hadn't had one complaint, and we maxed out our sales of 50. Is our goal is 50, but we'll take more if more show up.
Well, I know that I like my Angus grain-fed, grass-fed ribeyes, and I know what a 1 pound one costs if you can buy the good kind that has not ever had any chemicals in it. Right. So it's a good buy at $20 for that, the potato and all, and having somebody cook it for you.
You're exactly right about, and I want to guarantee you that will not be me cooking.
But you do have plenty of volunteers to make that happen.
We do. We got many folks in the back, and we're not going to put that steak on until you show up and nod your head north and south, and we will cook it to order, and it'll be fresh off the grill when you get it.
Fantastic. So those phone numbers again for more information, 850-682-9208 and 850-398-3832. Now, I've got the numbers. Will be across the screen for those watching this on our Facebook channel or on our website, thegoodcountry.com, where we also have links to all of the videos that we do. So, gentlemen, we enjoyed having you with us. Thank you very much.
May we say that we thank you for giving us this opportunity. We also thank the Historical Society for making this a historical presentation to the community. It adds to our growth and our knowledge, and we do appreciate all the work y'all do.